We're doing some DIY today. It is Joe's birthday in a couple of weeks and we are throwing a big garden party. Hopefully the weather gets a little bit better and it stays a glorious sunny day. So I thought we needed some garden games to keep all our guests entertained. There are a few games that we've bought so we can set up, but I wanted to give something a little DIY and I wanted to make the Cornhole game, which, if you don't know what that is basically throwing a beanbag into a hole in a board, which should be pretty simple to set up. So I found a random bit of wood in one of our many sheds and we're going to try and turn this into 2 cornhole boards. It is a irregular shape at the moment, but the idea is to have kind of this big by this big, 2 of them. First job is to square off here and possibly make that edge a little bit squarer, and then we'll cut it into half. Well, actually first job is to clean them up a bit because they've been in the shed for so long. They're covered in cobwebs and some other stuff that I don't want to know what it is. So I think this edge and that edge over there are the straight edges, and then these 2 that go this way are diagonals. So I've gone off this straight edge here so I can make a straight cut up there. I'll do the same down here, so then we've got at least a sort of straight rectangle to begin with, and then we'll just cut it in half. Moved inside so I can use the workbench. I'm going to use my jigsaw to cut out the lines I just did. That's 1 line cut. Really wish I had a table saw for things like this, but I will double check my measurements for that line up there and then cut that one. So there's my roughly rectangle shape. I now just need to cut it into 2. So find the middle, straight line down there, and that'll give me my 2 boards for both cornholes. So the boards are cut. They are surprisingly very equal in size and pretty rectangular. I'll just sand down the cut edges just so there's no splinters, then measure out the circles that we want to do and cut those out. So that's them both sanded down. Rounded some of the corners a little bit so they're just safer and nicer to move. So next I either got to cut out the circles, or I might find what I'm going to put to prop them up a little bit first so that my circles aren't in the way of that. I think is going to be a good plan. So I'll go into the woodshed and see what I can find. We have a big selection of what we could use. So whether we use something thick like that and just have it as a bit of a wedge at the back, or you go for something like this that's thin but it's quite long so it's propped up at more of an angle. I'll see if I could like draw some pictures to show you what I mean. Or possibly have something like this and cut it into 2 little legs. That's a slightly thick a bit rotted, but I'm not going to be able to use that for much else. So I think this might be a good option. There are some screws in it, so we'll just have to be careful with that. Let's see what this would be divided by 4. I think it'll be about that high off the ground. Let's go see. So let's call it 90. Each section will be 22.5 centimeters tall, which is about that. So it's going to be kind of like that. I do realise that the top part will have to be at an angle. I could work that out with maths, but I'm probably not going to. So I'm going to cut out 4 sections of 22.5, and then we'll work out what angle they need to be cut out to sit flat once we've done that. So I'll cut out 22.5. That's all the blocks cut out, and I'm just giving them a quick sand, and they're coming up quite nice. And I'll cut this nail off with a little hacksaw if I can. So now it's got to work out the angle to cut this at, so that this can sit flat. If I hold this up to here, let me see if I can, how are you going to see this? So if I hold the block up, try and eyeball it so it's straight, have one corner here, then that is the angle that I need to cut it at, I think. Try that. So there, it's going to be sort of flat, and it's going to be that angle. Yeah, that might work. Like I said, it does not need to be perfect. I'll try and cut that, and then we'll see what happens from there. So that's cut at the angle. Hopefully that'll just slide there. I think I'm on a slope. I think that's going to work. In which case I will do the same angle on the rest of the pieces too. So now it should be able to just drill straight through here into here, a long screw, and that'll be the boards. But probably want to do the circles first. I'm going to play around with some designs, whether I want just one big hole or a few with different like points. If you look on Google, there's only one hole, but I think this is our adaptation of Cornhole. So we're going to do two, one slightly smaller one at the top, and then a bigger one kind of underneath. Might use this as a small, and then there's a like something like that for the big, maybe. So to cut through the circle, I'm going to use my drill bit to drill through a hole big enough that my jigsaw can then sit in it, and then it's just cut it around with the jigsaw. I made sure the top of the hole is as close to the circle edge as I can, so that when I put in my jigsaw, I can just immediately start following the circle. So I can give that a sand, and that should be pretty good. Just gotta do 3 more. Not bad. I will paint them just with whatever paint we've got lying around, probably white, and then we might put some, if I've got some colour. I saw a lot on Google, like stripes down the side, which look quite cool, so I might try that. But I will start with a white, let that dry overnight, paint in any extras we want, and then I'll screw in the legs, and then they'll be ready to play. Going to give them both a base coat of white, and then I also have this green that I got clearly very cheaply. I think it's just a really nice green. I did a first coat last night, and I'm just doing a second coat now. My one tip is to paint in the same direction. So on my first coat I painted left to right. Now on the second coat I'm painting up and down so that it just looks neater once it dries. I'm going to add in a little bit of detail with the green that I found earlier. I might see if I've got some sort of varnish or sealer that I can put over everything just to protect it a little bit, but hopefully we won't need it because it'll be lovely and sunny and they're not going to get wet at all. It's going to be a glorious day, but we'll see. Gotta finish painting them first. I could use tape if I wanted really straight lines, but I can't really be bothered, and by the time I found the tape, put it all on and then painted, I could have painted it quicker, so I'm just going to go freehand. This is a DIY homemade version after all, don't want it too perfect. There we go, two very simple, very cheap. I didn't spend a penny on this because I had all the wood, I had all the screws, I had all the paint. I think this is going to be a great addition to our little garden party. Just need to order the bean bags. I don't have any at the moment, so I'm just going to use a pair of socks and try it out. 5 points. The idea with the 2 holes is this top one will be worth 10 points or 2 points, and this bottom one is 5 points. I might write them on in paint or something, but I think it's a pretty easy concept that we can just explain it before people play, or they can make up their own rules. I thought meat bags are too big to get through the top hole, but that's the idea. 10 points. Slightly cheating because I'm stood so close to them, but that's the idea. I'm very happy with them. Hopefully the sun stays out and we can use them at the party, so the next clip you see will be them in use.